Hello dear students. Yesterday we worked out the try this questions from the textbook. Now today we are going to learn some more concepts related to data and its handling. Now we have already learned what is a data. Data is a collection of facts or information in the form of numbers, words, maybe some measurements or some of the descriptions or some observations or anything, or this data is collected for a specific purpose. Okay, or if you have a particular work related to it, we collect information regarding these matters. Okay, and we arrange it. Now this data is a systematic collection. Simply when you write all the information in a full page, it is not called a data. When you collect it in a systematic way and arrange it in a systematic way, then it is called a data. That we have already discussed in the beginning of the chapter. Now a data that is collected directly from the source, that is called a primary data. During the election time and all, just before election, the people come to take in your house, means people visit the houses and they collect directly the information from the family members. Okay, such data, the data collected directly from the source is called a primary data. And sometimes we get some data from newspapers or magazines or some other reliable sources. We get the data. These data are already collected by somebody and they have printed it. Okay, when we collect the data from such sources, then that data is called a secondary data. So a data can be divided into two types are there. One is primary data and the other is secondary data. Now after primary and secondary data, we are going to learn about some more types of data. That is, what is a raw data. As the name suggests, raw data is when you collect the data, we just get information and write it in an inorganized way, means which is not in a proper organized way. When you just collect the data, that is called raw data. So the data that is initially collected and not organized is called a raw data. Now when you collect raw data can be of two types. One is qualitative data and the other is quantitative data. And from the name itself you will get what are qualitative and what is meant by qualitative and what is meant by quantitative. Qualitative data means the data which gives which gives you information regarding the quality of a substance or quality of some product. For example, when you go to Amul Dairy, you get flavored milk, or you get different types of ice cream, flavors of ice cream. So the data which gives you information regarding the quality of such things are called qualitative data. And quantitative means it will be speaking about the quantity. Quantity means it will be the number. Okay, so the data that is in the form of numbers, which gives you information in the form of numbers, are called quantitative data. For example, in the previous class we did such things. The number of cars produced or manufactured by a company in different various months. So it is a quantitative data. Now again, quantitative data can be divided into two groups, that is discrete data and continuous data. In discrete data, what happens, which will show you whole numbers. That means just now we discussed the number of students in a classroom, or the number of students who are going to school by various means. We did today in the bar graph we learned that. Okay, or the number of cars produced, such information where the numbers are there, but they are whole numbers. Okay. We won't say that today 200.5 students attended school. We have to give them in whole number. So, such data are called discrete data. Whereas, in continuous data, the data which cannot be counted actually, you won't be able to count them, but you can measure it. For example, the height of a child or the student's height of the students in the school. Such things you won't be able to count it, but you can measure it using a tape. The temperature of a particular place. Okay. So, these all things we don't count, the length of the rivers of India. All these things you won't be able to count them, but we will measure them and write, and that will be sometimes in points also. Okay. So, such data are called continuous data. So, we learned that raw data is the data which is collected, but it is not organized. Raw data can be divided into two parts, two groups, that is qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative will describe the quality, or it will give you information regarding the quality, or its descriptive nature. Okay, descriptive information. And quantitative will give you the number, numerical information. Again, quantitative can be divided into discrete and continuous. So, discrete will give you the exact number, whole numbers, and continuous may give you numbers which are not whole numbers, that is which can be measured but which cannot be counted. Now, after collecting the raw data, when we arrange it or organize it in a systematic way, then it is called a grouped data. So, how do you group a data? Or grouping of data includes many points. You need to know so many points in that, or there are certain terms that you should understand. Now, when you arrange it, usually when you write a data in a systematic way, we use columns and rows, that is we write it in the form of table. Okay. So, the systematic arrangement of data in a tabular form. Tabular form means in the form of a table using rows and columns, it is called tabulation. Now, when you write, for example, if you are counting the number of students who are coming by bicycle, those who are coming by bus or rickshaw or any such way, when you arrange, you write some figures, means for example 20 students come by bicycle, 30 students come by bus, or 50 students come by rickshaw, 5 students come by on foot, means by walking. So, these numbers, the figures which you write in a raw data is called observation. The word is observations. And sometimes in some cases, for example, if you take the students who like oranges, okay, when we count one, the first child says yes, I like, so the first child, then the third child or fifth child. So, when you count the number of times it is repeated, or those who like oranges, the children will come again and again. For example, if in a class 20 students like oranges, so the 20 will be the frequency of people who like oranges or students who like oranges. Okay. So, the number of time an observation is repeated is called frequency. Now, another example, if you want, those who got 20 marks or less than that out of 25. So, one by one children will say I got. So, we write the names, right. So, after counting total how many are there, that is called frequency. Okay. Now, difference between, see when you write data, there will be many observations. Some observations will be larger numbers, some will be smaller numbers. Okay. Today when we made the graph, you saw in some cases means you learned some percentage of winning. Okay, some cases they got only 43% wins. Some of them got 78. So the highest value was 78 and the lowest value was 42 or 44. Okay, so the frequency, the highest and the lowest values, when you find their difference, the difference between the highest and the lowest values of the data, then we get the range of the data. Okay, after getting the range, we decide the scale, right? That is what we did today. Now here, when you make a table and list all the observation of the table and record their frequencies using tally mark, then tally mark, you know, you have already learned in 7th standard. We see how many times a particular observation is repeated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th time you cross it, means this way we make. See, here it is 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5th one we draw like this. Okay, this is called tally marking. So using tally marking, when you find out the frequency and write it and in the form of a table, then it is called frequency distribution table. What is the word? Frequency distribution table. Now, the range of values in a data is divided into groups. I told you there will be a smallest value and a highest value. For example, when an exam was conducted, then means the total mark, the maximum mark of the paper was 100. In mathematics, I conducted a test. Now, there may be students who get very less mark, less than 10. Some may get between 10 and 20, some may get between 20 and 30. So, what we will do, that is the range may be 0 to 100, right? The smallest mark or the lowest mark the child can get is 0 and the highest mark the child can get is 100, any child. So, what we will do, that range 0 to 100 will be divided into groups of equal intervals. Okay, so it is up to you in whatever way you want to divide. So, if we divide into 5 groups, so we will have 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. Now, if somebody else wanted to make a smaller class, smaller groups, that is 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, that is also possible. Okay, if you check your progress report card, in that percentage A1, A1A, B1B, how they have marked it, between these two means a particular range will be given, that is 30 to 0 to 30, it is considered as E grade, then 30 to some other grade is considered as D grade, and then 40 to 50 is considered as C grade. Like that they have divided the class according to their marks. Okay. So, this class, this division into groups is called class intervals. Each group is called a class interval. Okay. So, if you divide the marks 0 to 10, that is one class interval, then 10 to 20 is another class interval, 20 to 30 third class, 30 to 40 next class, like that we can make class intervals. Okay. Now, after dividing the complete observation into class intervals, I told you it will be divided into class intervals like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, like that. Okay. So, if you take one class interval 0 to 10, the lowest value in that class will be 0 and the highest value in that particular class will be 10. So, the lowest value of a class is called its lower limit and the highest value of a class is called its upper limit. Okay. So, here the lowest value is 0, so the lower limit is 0 and the upper limit is 10 in the particular class 0 to 10. So, if you take another class 10 to 20, 10 will be the lower limit and 20 will be the upper limit. Okay. So, like that when you see the class, you will be able to see between which two numbers the class is. So, the lowest value is called the lower limit and the highest value is called the upper limit. Now, when you subtract or when you find the difference between the lower limit and the upper limit, that is upper limit minus lower limit, you will get the class width of the class. Class width, or it is also called the size of the class size. So, it is very important to know the lower and upper limit to find the class size. Now, all these terms are very important because when you go ahead with this chapter, these all things we have to use, we have to find out and use it for finding some other values, related values. Okay. So, we learned many concepts today. We learned about raw data, then we learned about qualitative and quantitative data, then we learned about discrete and continuous data, then we learned about organizing a data, how to organize a data. Okay. And in that grouping data, in that we learned many new terms. We learned frequency, we learned class intervals, we learned upper limit and lower limit and range of the class, and range we learned, then we learned about class width and or class size. Okay. These are all very important concepts and you need to read it. In the next class we will take one raw data and we will see how to make it a organized data. That's all for today. Thank you.